The Prime Minister has defended plans for teachers to grade GCSE and A-level pupils in England this summer, calling it a good compromise. The decision follows last year's exam fiasco when grades were decided by an algorithm. With so much time lost, pupils will now only be assessed on what they've been taught. Grades will be decided by teachers using mock exams, coursework, essays and optional tests provided by exam boards. Results will be published earlier in August to allow more time for appeals that are expected to follow. Today's announcement comes after similar moves in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. But there are concerns about the fairness of the approach, including the issue of grade inflation. Our education editor, Branwen Jeffreys, reports.
Come on through, Matthew, take a seat.
Schools will be testing all pupils when they return, but for COVID, not their grades.
Check in the mirror that you go into the right place.
When Year 11s are back, any work could count.
Thank you.
A lot of pressure has been put on all of us.
This is the crucial GCSE year for Elliot and Elizabeth.
It'd let me get into the colleges and the universities I want to go to.
Relief today that teachers will decide what counts towards their grades.
I find it a lot better because I get under pressure a lot more in exams. So I think whilst I'm comfortable in my lessons, I think it's a lot better for me.
I'm perfectly fine with it because I'm comfortable with my teachers and I know them well, and I know that the work I've done in lessons should get me a good grade.
Together with the measures
This is the least worst option, MPs were told today.
Our approach in the face of the worst disruption to education since the Second World War has been to protect the progress of pupils and students.
Now, for the first time, he said he trusts teachers. I can't help wondering why he only trusts teachers when there's a chance to make them responsible for what happens with exams.
If grades go up a lot this year, then teenagers who benefit and their families aren't likely to complain immediately. But if they're massively out of line with other years, then they won't hold their value in the long term. And of course, not everyone will get the results they want, leaving schools to tread a very tricky, difficult path.
For each pupil, in every subject, they have to look at the evidence. Where more is needed, this school will use extra exam questions provided.
For some students, these questions that are being set nationally will have greater weighting because we need them, but for some students it won't be such a great weighting. So if we can work on both the GCSE grade and their progression, then it should ease that challenge. But yes, I do worry that it is a bit of a hospital pass from government.
A-level students at home around the country told us they want a level playing field.
I'm more concerned as to whether some colleges inflate grades whilst others do not, and I think that could lead to a lot of discrepancies.
This was probably the fairest way for us to be assessed just because of the stress exams would have caused us.
Does that have an impact?
The regulator told me it will be different from the chaos of last year.
Teachers knew that their proposed grades were going to be put into a giant mixing pot and spiced up with a mysterious algorithm. And of course, as you know, the algorithm isn't going to be used this year, so teachers will recognise that the grades they recommend are the grades that students will end up getting.
Schools do have their work cut out, welcoming back every year group, and by June, telling pupils what they'll use to work out grades. Branwen Jeffreys, BBC News, Manchester.